All right. I want to welcome everybody to the Buffalo Soldiers African American Network of Kern County podcast for November. And I must say it's good to be back. And it's been a very, very busy year for us here in 2022. But we're glad to be here today, and we are happy to have with us some special guests on this podcast. Of course, our purpose is to inform and educate people in our Bakersfield, Kern County community. And we have with us today Karla Young, who is the Public Affairs and Communications Specialist at California State University, Bakersfield. She will say more about herself and what she does as we move into the podcast. And then we have Mr. Darius Riggins, who is the Director of University Outreach and Recruitment at California State University, Bakersfield. So I want to welcome both of you to our podcast, and thank you so much for just sacrificing your time to come to be with us today and share some good information. Let me introduce the panel of Buffalo Soldiers who are with us today, starting with myself, Brigadier General Sandifer, and we have Major General Slade, who's with us, Brigadier General Everly, who is with us, and First Lieutenant Stowe, who is with us as well. So thank you all as well for joining us today on this podcast. Our topic today is California State University, Bakersfield, and the community.
Well, thank you so much, General Sandifer, and thank you so much, everyone, for having us here today. We really appreciate the opportunity to share what we do at CSUB and all the good things that are coming up. And so, as mentioned, my name is Karla Young. I am the Public Affairs Communications Specialist for the School of Business and Public Administration at CSUB. And the things that I do within the school, I pretty much handle all of the PR work and make sure that the visual representation is seen throughout the campus and the community. I'm able to connect organizations and corporations to the School of Business, especially if they have any internships or job opportunities for our students and things of that nature. I'm also able to do a lot of graphic design work for the school and a lot of publications, and making sure that the communication is very effective within the school and the campus and the community. And so I'm in a really great, unique situation to provide my skill set, and I'm just so happy to have that position on the campus. We do actually have a lot of great programs coming up too, no problem. And then I know Darius will probably touch on this, but we also are here to represent the Black Faculty and Staff Association at CSUB as well, and we have some wonderful things coming up on that too. So that's pretty much it on my end, and I'll talk more about what we have coming up with the School of Business later on.
Very good. All right, Mr. Riggins.
All right. Hello, everyone, and also again, thank you for the opportunity to come and talk on this podcast. Greatly appreciate it. Yes, again, my name is Darius Riggins. I'm the Director of University Outreach. And with regards to the responsibilities of this particular office, we have kind of a double charge. We have a responsibility to CSUB as a campus, but we also have a responsibility out of the Chancellor's office, that brings all 23 California State universities together. And so essentially our office is charged with covering a certain geographical location. Every Cal State has a certain area that they cover with regards to outreach and recruitment. So we, of course, are all of Bakersfield and Kern County, but we also cover Southern Tulare County, as well as Northern LA County, particularly as pertains to Palmdale and Lancaster, but also Inyo and Mono County. So essentially what that means is that any high school or educational partner that contacts us for any type of service or any type of information, we are responsible to meeting that request. Now, of course, most of our work primarily is in Bakersfield, and when it comes to our charge, it is specifically to high schools. So in the Kern Unified High School District, there are now 19 high schools. I don't know you all have heard or know that we have a brand new high school that just opened up, Del Oro High School, which is on the corner of Panama and Dr. King. So we have those schools that we primarily have to service. And then we pick up some other high schools that's in the area, private schools, charter schools. We also deal with the schools that's in Delano. So examples of that are Delano High School, RFK High School, but then of course the high schools here in Bakersfield, Independence, Bakersfield High, East Bakersfield High, Miramonte, all of those schools. Then some of the private schools as well, such as Garces, as well as Bakersfield Christian, and then charter schools such as Valley Oaks. So we are responsible for communicating admission requirements to the California State University system, as well as providing information about students continuing their education here at CSU Bakersfield.
And if there are any graduates or alumni of our Master of Business Administration program, the school is actually looking to start an MBA alumni chapter within Bakersfield. And so there's going to be a meeting coming up for that on Saturday, November the 12th. And more information about how folks can sign up can be found on that site as well through our social media platforms. And I'll provide my contact information too, if anybody would like to contact me about it. And then we just have so many good things coming up. For our Center of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, we just finished up, finalizing a 10-week entrepreneurship boot camp program. And the culmination is coming up for that in the middle of November. So that's pretty exciting for our school as well. And we also have something on behalf of the Public History Institute that's coming up. And it's the Journey to CSUB. And this is more so a campus event that Public History is hosting. And it's going to be experiences in the civil rights era. And that's going to be a panel discussion. And we have the distinct privilege of having Dr. Horace Mitchell on campus that day, along with Dr. Soraya Coley, which is the president for CSU Cal State Pomona. And we also have Dr. Wallace, Dr. Thomas Wallace, that'll be on that panel. So we look really forward to having that. That's actually on Monday. And that's going to be from 5 to 6:30 p.m. in the library of Walter Stern in the December reading room. And so that information is also up and posted as well, but we can make sure to share that with you all too.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that information. Any announcements from you, Mr. Riggins?
Kind of piggybacking on what Karla said, both of us are also active members in the Black faculty and staff. Right now, I'm kind of outgoing co-chair, simply because I served the last academic year, taking a little bit of a step back, but still highly involved. Just want to echo the program that she's talking about that's happening on Monday. Interestingly enough, what may have not been realized or with regards to the community, but at one point in time, the upper level of administration with regards to that power structure at the university, the top 3, maybe top 4 positions were all African American in terms of Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Coley, Dr. Wallace. And so it's really nice that all of them are now coming back to campus. So we are taking the time to recognize them, not only for the program that they're coming to talk about, but to recognize them for the leadership that they demonstrated while they were here on campus, leading the way. The Black faculty and staff are also working on a variety of projects and initiatives designed to help the campus, but particularly our African-American students. As of right now, like some universities, not all, but some universities have a Black Resource Center or African-American Cultural Center. Cal State Bakersfield does not have one. So we are putting our efforts to try to bring one to the campus. We also have starting a new ethnic studies program that hopefully will have some type of African-American history type of track to it. And then, of course, we are beginning to prepare little by little for many events that will be happening for Black History Month. Don't have a lot of things locked in now. We're just trying to, develop that and move that. You got to start that early since it's right around the corner. But yeah, and in terms of my office, this is the time that we are accepting applications. We are right in the middle of accepting applications for students that want to be admitted for fall of 2023. The deadline is November 30th for all those applications to come in, whether you are a high school student or a transfer student. from a community college, that is when we're looking to get those applications. And then, of course, in the spring, we start trying to seal the deal with those students by meeting, particularly those that's in our local area. We'll be traveling to their high schools, trying to meet with them, traveling to the community colleges, meeting with those students that applied and also particularly were admitted, to try to convince them that, okay, you've been admitted, here's what you need to do to now actually enroll.
Okay, thank you. And before we open it up for questions, and Lieutenant Stowe will handle that, let me just ask this quickly. What is the major thrust of the Black faculty staff in relationships to students and community?
Yeah, well, you know, we really are just this past year, maybe year and a half, is when we've gotten kind of back on track with being a little bit more intentional and having a little bit more structure. So right now we're really trying to focus on developing programs that's going to support our students, particularly in terms of retaining them. We get a pretty cool amount of students that come in, but we've noticed that they tend to drop out. So we want to develop some programs that's going to keep that Black community consistent and strong and move them towards graduation. We also are wanting to make sure that we support that Black faculty and staff, that once they get here, that they know that there is a community, that there is a connection. So we want to begin to have more type of events that brings those faculty and staff together so that those ties can be bonded. As far as the community is concerned, we really just want to begin to promote CSUB programmings to the point to where we're advertising and showing that this is a place that you can come and be involved with. Recently, we have a new professor on campus that's involved with theater, and he's wanting anyone and everyone to come in and get involved with some of the theatrical productions that's happening on campus, and getting the community to come and watch it and view it, because there are many African Americans on campus that have their hands in a lot of things that's going on, and unless you come to the campus and participate, you wouldn't know it. So we want to try to express that, and then also again trying to make sure that that students come here having something that they can rely on, having something that they can draw on. We've really begun to try to during the orientation programs here lately, as new students are coming on, we're trying to establish a presence in their orientation, letting them know that you have other Black faculty and staff also on campus that can help you make sure you navigate the system, not get lost or feel that you are on an island by yourself. This takes a little bit of time to develop and mature, but we're sowing the seeds to make that happen.
Can I add to that?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, definitely. Sentiments exactly. Recruitment, retention, graduation, making sure students understand the dynamic support system that is on the campus for them. Judd Johnson is actually the professor Darius was talking about in regards to the theater faculty member. He's doing some excellent things in regards to the arts, and he really wants to make sure that our students are exposed to that. Dr. Tracy Salisbury, excuse me. She's the actual chair over the Ethnic Studies Department now, and she's just taken the campus by storm in regards to her passion for all the things that she's trying to bring. So we're excited to see what she's going to do with the department. And also the Black Graduates Recognition Ceremony is something that we hold near and dear as well towards the end of the school year. It's going to be in May this year, and that's where we really get a chance to just honor our students, let them know how proud we are of them and their major accomplishments, and just make sure that we add that element that we're traditionally known to have when we celebrate our people. And so that's why it's very important that we continue to do these programs, and through that Black Faculty and Staff Association, it makes it possible every year.
All right. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Stowe, who will direct us through this questioning period. And Lieutenant Stowe, welcome again. You always do a good job with questioning. And you will open it up to the rest of the Buffalo soldiers as well. So go right ahead, ma'am.
Yes, thank you all. And thank you guys for joining us today. One of the questions that I have, because you had stated, Mr. Riggins, that you want to promote some of the programs that you have at CSUB. So my question is, what associations or organizations outside of the high schools do you guys partner with? And I'm specifically speaking to organizations of color, like our organization, to help bring that information out on your behalf or with you.
Well, my office in terms of University Outreach, we will primarily focus on educational partners. However, Black faculty and staff, again, since its resurgence, we definitely are trying to establish connections with as many organizations as we can. For example, we have a good connection with, I think, another one of your members, Dr. Brian Bowens, who is also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. We made sure that we connected with him. He actually offered services where some of those gentlemen participated in our graduation ceremonies for our African American students this past spring, and that was dynamic. So we know that we have that connection both with Alpha Phi Alpha as well as the Buffalo Soldiers for the different things. So we're making sure that anything that's coming up that we need help spreading the news about the programs, as well as if we need any help like Alpha Phi Alpha did as far as being ushers and just showing a presence. We just want to continue in developing those type of programs so we can incorporate more and more of the community with the things that's going on campus. Dr. Bowens also had mentioned how he has an idea to really pump up the Black graduation ceremonies to include more of the community in terms of the high schools so that we can show representations of academic excellence and making it kind of a community event. And so I know that some of the planning is going on. In fact, when I first got here, a lot of that planning went through Karla, and it was fantastic. And even though she left and now she's back, hopefully she can still throw in her expertise and making sure that that's a fantastic event and continuing on. So we want to make sure that we establish those connections and then maintain those connections. I think that's very, very important for us to maintain it, such that hopefully we can get to a point to where the organizations such as Buffalo Soldiers, Alpha Phi Alpha, other organizations in the community where we have African American professionals, that maybe we can begin to get together on a regular basis where all of us are meeting and talking about what type of things we can do to support the campus as well as the community, and take advantage of us as professionals and what we do every single day. So I look forward to that. It's just a matter of us really discussing it, getting together, putting it on the calendar, and then committing to meeting, So I'm excited about that opportunity and that potential.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please. Yes.
And I'll also encourage, if you know of any organizations or community that actually need any of us to come out and speak, we have a exceptional group of African American faculty and staff that can come. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Bakersfield Alumni Chapter, and we have an Embody Young Male Enrichment Program. And we just had one of our first workshops at Bakersfield High School, and I was able to get Tommy Hollowell, which is the Director of Enrollment Management Systems and alumni of BHS, to come and speak to those young males. And they just had a really excellent time. They really absorbed a lot from Tommy and his experience at BHS and even his role at CSUB, and explaining how his skill set, which is in STEM, computer science, is very important in his career, and the things that he does, and how I even told him, I said, you have got to let these boys know that our processes and programs and our efficiency on campus would not run effectively if it were not for him and his exceptional technologically driven mind. So just those things. We have many people to pick from. So if you ever need us to do that, I'd be more than happy to help PR that.
Oh, thank you.
That connection as well. I know Darius is more than willing to as well, but we really want to make sure that we can get out there wherever we can and spread the word about whatever's needed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What do you see as a major need for African American students that contributes to their success? And I'm talking in terms of high school. What do you see as a barrier for those high school students to transition into college? And I'm talking specifically children of color.
Yeah, so let me give you a statistic that's just in general incorporating all students. And so, and students of color, of course, this affects them and probably to a greater degree. So one of the things that anybody can go and look up, every single public high school in California produces something called a student accountability report card. And this is basically a review every year of a lot of statistical and general information about that particular high school. One of the things that I see that's very, very concerning, not just for students of color, but for any high school, is they will identify what percentage of students start off enrolled in classes that is designed to get them access to the California State University system or to the UC school. Because both of us as a system pretty much have very, very similar admission requirements. Mm-hmm. Almost every single report card will indicate that as entering freshmen, 80, 90, 95% start off taking all the right classes. But then when you look at the graduation year of that same group that came in terms of, well, how many actually completed the requirement? Some of our schools in this area, it will drop to as low as only 28%.
Wow.
So if upwards of 90+% start off where they're supposed to be, but then they drops down to 28% actually completing it. Well, now the pool of regularly admissible students significantly decreases in terms of the graduating classes around the area for our schools. Now, there are some schools that do, I would say, significantly better. There's some schools where their graduating pool is 40, maybe 60%. But even then, that's still a significant drop off. You know, to go from 90+% on track, but then only 40% actually complete, that's less than half. I think that, and there could be a variety of reasons that may explain. But one of the things that I think is very important for us to communicate to our students of color is, number one, keep the classes that you're enrolled in. We call them the A through G classes. Keep those classes that you enrolled in. Don't drop them. Pass them with C grades or better. Finish them such that when you graduate, you now have some options. If you choose to go to college, guess what? You've done the classes and you're ready to go. If you choose not to go, okay, that's fine. But you can't look back and say, oh, I can't go to college because I didn't take the right classes. Keep those classes. And another thing about it is, I think sometimes when I tell students this, sometimes they don't believe it. I ask them the question. I say, what GPA do you think you need in order to be admitted into a university like Cal State Bakersfield? Most of the time, they would say something like 3.3 or higher to be admitted. The reality is, all they need is a 2.5. Just a 2.5 GPA in taking the right classes. And you want to go to a university like Cal State Bakersfield, you will have access. And so when I tell them that, they go, what? And I was like, look, you all should be able to get a 2.5 in your sleep. It should not be that hard to get a C grade or better in your classes. You know, so even if you're not even interested in the class or don't like the class, if you do the homework, if you do what the teacher says, if you pay just a little bit of attention to your classes, guess what? At the end of that 4 years, you could very well see yourself at a university. And this is not just CSUB. There are other California state universities where that 2.5 will get you in. So if a student is interested in leaving Bakersfield just for a different experience, which is fine. They want to go down to LA and go to Cal State Dominguez Hills, or they want to go up to the Bay Area and go to Cal State East Bay. That 2.5 gets them in. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to send this message to students such that they can remain motivated to do what they need to do minimally, just minimally at that high school level, instead of dropping off somehow along the way for whatever type of reasons that they're making.
So I wanted to say that what I'm hearing is that it's that academics and it's understanding what actually they need to have academically to get there. I know that you guys are doing outreach with students, but is there like a location or somewhere, is there information you can send to us or other groups to try to help our children to understand, hey, yes, we want you to shoot higher, but this is what you need to get there? Because I agree with you. I think there is that fear of, I'm in this class, it's too hard, I'm dropping it. And I haven't seen that.
Right. So two quick things on that. Of course, yes, any information, I will definitely send. Brother Sandifer, you have my email address. Send me whatever address or information you want me to send materials and information about recruitment materials to me. I will get it to you as soon as possible. But also in terms of how we try to get this word out here. So there is a minimum standard in terms of activity that I have for my outreach recruiters. Minimally, because each of them have a list of high schools that they're responsible for. And the more than half are the Kern Unified High School District. But each of them have about 12, maybe 15 schools. So of those 12 schools, they are required to go to each school minimally twice a semester. Now, they might end up going more because if that school calls us for any type of event or any type of service, they have to go and respond to that call. But they have to initiate going to each of their high schools twice every semester. So CSUB, so let's just take Bakersfield High School. CSUB is going to be present at Bakersfield High School minimally 4 times a year, just specifically for the purpose of talking about CSUB, the admission requirements, and what needs to be done. That could happen in a variety of ways. The way that I want them to do it is I want them in a classroom presenting to the students. We have a formalized CSUB presentation that we go through that talks about the university, talks about the admission requirements. So that's my desire. The high schools, however, they of course dictate to us in what format we get access to the campus. Most of them are great with giving us access to a classroom. Sometimes, however, they say, oh, you can come, but you can just have a table at lunch, which is fine. But a table at lunch is not as effective because the students don't have to come by, right? They don't, and since it's at lunch, they're probably more concerned about getting food, because they're hungry, than going by and talking with a recruiter at a table. But we try to take advantage of every opportunity and every topic that we, or every way that we can go and talk to students. As a matter of fact, even right now, right after this podcast is over, I got to jet down to the East Side where I have students participating in the MLK initiative, where there is a resource fair going on right now that is designed to not only provide a variety of community resources, but CSUB is there providing a resource table, passing information out to students. The softball team, the women's softball team is there as a presence. So, whenever CSUB can get out there in the community that we know about or we have access to, we're trying our hardest to be out there.
And just to add to that, we know that there are many excellent organizations and nonprofits in Bakersfield doing amazing things with youth programs. And just even getting out to those programs and talking about recruitment and what it takes and what you need to do to prepare is something that we can do outside of the high school system. And so, we take great pride in trying to outreach in those areas as well to get the word out.
I have a question that I was wondering. In these changing times, what would you recommend that a student major in college these days?
Do you mean in terms of
a lot
of money or in terms of securing? Which one?
Well, I think what's happening, in all frankness, is that as technology moves along, certain things become obsolete, right? And so they don't use key punchers anymore, right? So we don't need anybody to go to school to learn how to be a key puncher because there's no more key punching. As our society evolves, I'm sure there's different skill sets, there's different majors that are more in demand. And that's one of the deals as I talk to students, one of the deals. I said, if you're at a university, right? Well, once you're on campus, you can major in anything. You might have came there to major in, I don't know, sociology, right? But maybe the school that's really helping kids out is maybe the nursing program. You follow what I'm saying? So that there's certain areas that professions or schools that you have that are more in demand, right? In terms of, a lot of times people do go to college to learn a skill set so they can make a living. So my question is that in these times, what areas do you recommend the kids go in that are in demand?
Karla, you go first.
Oh, okay. Well, it's thank you for that question, because it does come up a lot. When students come to me in regards to that type of guidance, I always first ask them what their passion is. What do they want to do? Where do they see themselves in the future? And so I kind of dig deep into that area. And then I kind of mentioned majors, especially with STEM. That's always very high on the list in regards to having those skill sets. A lot of them are really looking into entrepreneurship. So I also mentioned business and having those key business acumen to have that skill set so that can help them eventually be able to run things on their own. I do hear a lot of youth say they want to be YouTube influencers and things of that nature. And I'm like, hey, figure out how to create the software for that. And that would be, a STEM influence as well. Just influencers in general on social media, maybe figure out doing something in communications, so where you can better make sure that you're displaying yourself in the best of ways when you're presenting yourself in that type of realm. Of course, we always get, I want to be in the NBA, I want to be an athlete, I want to go all the way to professional sports. And we also talk about different ways to have backup plans in that regard too. But really, just really trying to dive into what they want to do and what they're interested in, and focusing on that and the best majors and the best careers that'll fit that passion. At least that's how I go about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say a little bit exactly what Karla was saying. Your STEM type of majors definitely will afford students some opportunities. With regards to changing technology, any type of background they can get with that, fantastic. Also, what has always been said for the longest time, students that get degrees in math, they will have a job forever, because we need math teachers. We need individuals that have that background. One of the only impacted major that we have here at CSUB is nursing. There's a shortage of nurses, which contributes to the impaction level. But I don't know if you all have been hearing, but there's been a lot of nurses because of this COVID experience have decided to retire or no longer be a nurse. So there's a shortage there. We also know that it's starting right now, but in the world of education, there's going to be a lot of people retiring. So even education is an area where there's going to be opportunities. The one thing I always tell students is, regardless of major, what is your plan? How are you going to use the degree in order to have a job and or make money? It's one thing to say, I love art and I want to major in art. Okay, great, we have that major. But have you thought about how you're going to use that art degree? I think many people that go to school, graduate, and then say they can't have a job, I haven't done any research on it, but there's a part of me that says that you didn't have a plan to know how that degree can be used in whatever type of industries, or how you can utilize it as a foundation to go on to do this or to do that. When I look back at my experience and what I did, I originally went to Cal State Northridge, and Karla did too. That's how I met Karla at Cal State Northridge. And I was an engineering major, and I knew that there was a job industry for that. That you get a degree in civil engineering, guess what? There's industries where you can become and work as a civil engineer. I ended up changing my major to Pan-African Studies. There is no industry for a Pan-African Studies major. There's not a group or organization that's looking, I'm going to hire you because you're a Pan-African Studies major. So what I had to do was I had to utilize that degree as a foundation, have a plan. How are you then going to now graduate and utilize this degree or the fact that you have one to establish a career? So I knew that I had to have two different things, an education, but also some relevant experience into what it is that I wanted to do. And in my travels, I became a student affairs officer, having three different types of careers: academic advisor, housing, now outreach and recruitment. But I was able to look at my skill sets in terms of what I knew I was good at as an individual, take on my education, look at what type of education I needed more in order to get to different type of career paths, and kind of put that all together to then identify, okay, this is what I need to continue to do in terms of education. And then this is also the area of career that I will be most effective in and competitive in. So in putting all that together, I've been able to have better than a 20-year career working for the California State University system in a variety of capacities. So if you don't kind of reason out how you're going to do a certain thing, then that can leave you being frustrated. But if you plan, and sometimes the plan is, where do you want to go, and then work backwards from there. So students need to be able to begin to look at that with regards to their futures in the event that, such that after they graduate from a university and got that degree in hand, they have some job career opportunities.
All right.
Now that COVID has slowed down, we have access to many of the campuses, and we go out to elementary all the way through high school, visiting some of the same campuses that you do. And I was thinking, maybe it's possible when we go out that we can invite one or two of you to go along with us as part of our team when we go out there. Because we are now accessing the campuses again with our Black History programs, and I think it might be.
I say amen to that, General Slade. And again, you have my contact information. Anytime you're going somewhere or you want someone from my office to come, we will come. If we can't work it out, at very, very minimum, I will give you recruitment brochures or other type of CSUB swag that you can give out to the students to encourage them. And that information has our contact information and stuff. But if you're going someplace in the Bakersfield area, you're gonna be talking to students, I'm gonna try my best to have somebody go with you if that's your desire. So know that you can count on that, sir.
And I'll just add, even within the Black Faculty and Staff Association, we have many talented faculty and staff that are from Bakersfield. And so if there's ever a school that you're at that we can draw from to maybe get an alumni member to come, I think that'll be an excellent partnership as well too. For instance, EJ Callahan, which is now Assistant VP of Student Affairs and Student-Centered Enterprises, is a graduate of East High School. We have Natasha Harris, who's just graduate from Foothill High School. She is our excellent transfer center coordinator extraordinaire, and many other people as well too. So it's always good to have people come back and hit their old stomping grounds and try to influence in that way too.
Great, thank you.
And you both have provided us with a wealth of information, and this conversation needs to continue. We need to have you two back with us, and perhaps with another person from the university, because there's still questions, running in my mind, but I know we don't have time. Karl, I would have liked to talk to you about, the corporations and things that you deal with, and then the other end, graduates, what kind of employment opportunities, help assistance that the university provides. That's another conversation. And then the issue of apathy among students and community, because Mr. Riggins, you mentioned about retention, dealing with trying to keep the students in school instead of dropping out. And then we didn't touch on financial aid.
Right.
So there's
if you're open to it, we would love to maybe have more BFSA faculty and staff come and maybe schedule some time on your other podcasts to talk about those specific areas, because Katrina Gilmore, our Director of Career Center Education and Community Engagement, can definitely touch upon that job community connection. She would be an excellent source for that.
Yeah. we certainly want to explore having that to happen, because I think it's vital, it's necessary for our community, and our parents, because they with their children, is just so much that time does not allow us to deal with in one session. Okay. All right. Well, generals and lieutenant, do you think we can work to have Ms. Young and Mr. Riggins and others back on?
Definitely not a problem.
Yes, yes.
Right. All right.
I certainly do. It was very informational, and yes.
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 Okay. Okay. All right. Well, Karla, it's been great having you, and thank you again for taking the time to be with us. It's good to meet you, and we look forward to having further conversations.
Oh, excellent. And thank you for having us again. Anything we can do to be of service, to help push the message, push the agenda, we are definitely on board.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.